Hola muchachos! Hola muchachos!
How
you guys doing? June the 4th is the episode that you're listening to of the Daily Debrief. Myself, NATO, Mark Peart is there. There is Blake Ashford as well. We're all on board, and we've got mates coming with us today because it was a bit of a holy hecker day. I think that's the two words that have dominated the New Zealand sports scene. And today, with of course the news that Daniel Carter is back as a blue. So, 2020 is the year that nothing happened like it was supposed to. So Liam Napier, our mate, journalist extraordinaire, beautiful man, he's going to be there because he was at training today. So we got a close-up look at DC in action. And also Huw Beynon comes on. There's not very many people that love basketball more than Huw Beynon, particularly not New Zealand basketball. Of course, he's been involved with the Cells NBL and setting up this year's season. Which of course we are in, and we are in the draft, and it's a beautiful year to be here. But Hugh's coming on today because the basketball missed out on quite a bit of stuff. So, bit of a shame. Of course, during the 4th, you know what? It's a cool day today, boys.
Of course.
First day that the shopping cart took off and was used properly in a local supermarket. What the guy did was he realised men wouldn't use it because they said, that looks effeminate. So what they did was he paid money to pretty people and kind of athletic-looking, muscly guys to push it around, and then other guys went, yeah, I'm going to do that too. So that could have been you guys, mate. Blake, you could have been it. You could have been the early influencer. Look at me, not holding on my groceries. You could do that.
Not the muscly guy.
Hey, that's incredible. They were the world's first influencers. They weren't on social, but they were influencers. They were paid to walk around with trolleys. And what blew my mind was actually how much a trolley is worth. Have you ever heard they're in the grams? Like that's something like 7K or something ridiculous when they're brand new. Like it is ridiculous price. Someone was telling me that they're just worth a truckload because they're really expensive to make, and they're really expensive for supermarkets. That's why they go to the effort of putting locks on the wheels and making sure that they get them back because they're really, really expensive.
Why do people not try and steal them? Like chuck them, like you can lift it up.
Because what do you do with it once it's at your house?
Sell it, black market.
Who's buying black? Because they've all got those.
I don't know. Well, you're telling me they were 7K.
Blake, man, you're shit, just a shit individual.
Thinking.
They only work with a large amount of lino for you to push them on smoothly, right? Because you notice any slight bump in the supermarket, like, oh, there's a bit of that there with that. So you know what I mean? They seem like a pretty.
Think about it too, Blake. Like if there wasn't if they weren't worth a shit ton of money, that's why they have those dudes who drive around in vans and try and find them and locate them and put them in the back of the vans and take them back.
Can we do a shout out to Michael? Michael's the guy in Seattle too that he puts on his little fleeky vest, and poor Michael gets sent down the street, and there he is down Taikata Road, muttering away to himself as he's having to push 3 carts back from up there as well. So shout out to you, Michael. You're a beautiful man.
Michael.
Doing the Lord's work.
With a new idea, Mike. So
I know in Dunedin too. Been to a flat in Dunedin, then they were using it as a grill. So they had
it's great for a grill.
Top bit was the grill. They lit the fire and actually where the wheels and stuff were, and they were just cooking. That was a full-time barbecue for them. Again, a very expensive full-time barbecue. And please correct me if I'm wrong. People are writing in already. Sup, boys? Andy, good to see you. Bryce, raining cats and dogs in the valley for the past 3 days. And in Wellington, I'd imagine.
Good for farmers.
Hashtag weather chat. Brendan Anderson's here. Evening, boys. Andy again. Never mind. DC. Why isn't Stags playing tonight? Man, plenty of messages coming in. Blake with the big IQ comment. That's James Taitamu. So
exactly, James.
Right.
See, a bit of lino, steal some. They're brand new.
I love it.
And do what? Who's buying them other than other supermarkets?
How do you know? You don't know what people might want, trolley. They're on trolley.
You don't know what people might want, trolley.
I've found that when I go to Pack and Save, particularly the one out at the end of the northwest, and for those who live in Auckland, all of their trolleys have 3 wheels and 1 hoof. Hey, because when you push it, there's always the one that goes sideways. You're like, damn. So maybe, you know what I mean? Maybe there's like a top quality, like I imagine a New World one, because that's where all the old rich people go. I imagine a New World or a Faro, that would be a way better class of trolley than you would get at the others. Maybe the 7,000 one you're thinking of was that bid.
Well, I had heard a quote that it was around that much, but I could be completely wrong, and if I am, I apologise for that. They are very, very hefty pieces of equipment, though, and I know that the supermarkets go to great lengths to try and keep them within themselves, like the ones that have locks on the wheels once they get out of the certain area.
Oh, yeah, those ones, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the expensive, the high-end ones that you cannot steal. Like Blake's cool idea, and the black market of trolleys. Like if there was an actual black market and it existed and there was something like if it was worth it, they would be stolen straight away.
I'm going to have a look on Facebook.
How do you
Marketplace
know
right
that
now.
it's not happening? We just don't know, mate.
Because
we move in.
Things.
and think about this.
What happens if someone lives next to the shopping mall? They don't want to lift their bags. They just get their own personal trolley. They might pay $7K for it because over the long run,
What? It's free to use at the supermarket.
Nah, but then they've got to take it back and things like that. Nah.
But they can just use it anyway without having to pay for a trolley. Like people just walk off with them anyway.
Well, my idea's good. I'm running with it. So someone will pay me $7K for it.
Okay. Let's keep it at that. Liam was is certainly calling through shortly. But that was well news. Daniel Carter turns up to the Blues. I saw a tweet from Louis Herman Watt, who we used to work with at Radio Sport, and he was saying
who's Crusader hard.
He's Crusader hard and a little salty.
Before All Blacks.
And took great pleasure in tweeting the fact that if Dan Carter pulls on a Blues jersey and plays around 20 minutes, he will become the Blues' greatest first five ever to put on the jersey. Just a little salt, just.
So does that? I'm a Blues fan now, right? Because the Blues are like like the Waratahs of Australian rugby, so same colours. So I'm basically a Blues fan.
There you guys. Yeah, it's the city you live in. It's it's your kids' town, and let's see, our household is split. We've got Hurricane parents and Blues kids, and one of them is very taunty, and she went to some taunting, and then Taunty went to bed because Hurricane parents' house is how it works. Hey, look, so like we mentioned, there's that's some pretty cool stuff there that's gone on. I think just as we get it, so Liam's set to come on with us. I think he is, but just as Liam is set to come on, I don't know if you guys saw the news today, and this is news that, as far as I guess, what do you call it? The first sentence of a headline, as a sentence just unravels and unravels. And as it goes on its journey, it takes you end up in a part of the word universe that you never thought you would quite get to. So here is a news headline of today. Are you ready for this? Spanish porn star Nacho Vidal, who likes to advertise his aromatic candles shaped like male genitalia on Twitter, has been arrested on manslaughter charges following a man's death during a mystic ritual in which he inhaled psychedelic toad venom. There you go.
Toad venom.
That ended up exactly where you didn't think it was going to.
Oh.
How about that?
Here he is.
There he is.
Liam, how are you, mate?
Great to see you.
Sharp, mate. A lot better than last time. Hair done. Nice.
Yeah. It's really spruced up for the occasion,
Should we sharpen the pencil with Liam and his journalistic background by reading that headline again, Nate, and just see how he would react?
Okay, Liam. So this is a news headline I was reading, and I said this is one of those headlines that starts somewhere and then finishes where you don't think it's going to. You ready for this, Liam?
I'm ready.
Your reaction, please.
Here it is. Spanish porn star Nacho Vidal, who likes to advertise his aromatic candles shaped like a male genitalia on Twitter, has been arrested on manslaughter charges following a man's death during a mystic ritual in which he inhaled psychedelic toad venom.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there.
There's a lot to unpack in that.
Yeah. Let's talk about something way simpler, like Dan Carter pulling on a Blues jersey and you being there to watch it. Talk to us, man. What did you think when you first heard the news, and were you sucked into that message that everyone was sharing around, going, "Hey, that someone had sent around"?
Yeah, holy heck, all right. The WhatsApp. I hope Leon McDonald got some deals, some advertising, something from Lone Star, because the ribs got a good going over.
Well, I mean, the ribs are awesome. I'm with Leon on that one. I'm like, good
the only
man.
thing worth eating at Lone Star, probably, to be fair.
What?
Dixie chicken.
The Dixie chicken's good.
I like the Dixie chicken. Coleslaw can go to hell, but the Dixie chicken
super
sort of.
expensive, for what you get.
Yeah.
Come on.
It is expensive. Better than the New one. It's very good. Yeah.
Yeah, DC running around. Look, I don't know if anyone ever thought they'd actually ever see him in a Blues jersey, and it's probably 10 years after his absolute prime, but I think he's going to be gold for the Blues and value for money. They're only paying him $1,800 a week, which is pittance in a professional sporting sense. So I think it'll have a massive impact on that team.
How do you
That
look?
says to me, Blake, if someone's going to come and do this, bro, for like $1,800 a week, you really still love it, right?
Oh, he must still love it. But I reckon there's a chance to, like you said, we spoke before, 20 minutes and you'll be the best Blues fly half ever. So he's already the best Crusaders, the best Blues. You might as well just take every team. But no, I reckon, how do you look, Liam? Like,
yeah,
shape or
I guess
good shape.
man, he's like the man that every bloke's ever wanted to be, and that every woman's probably wanted to bed, you know. But
yes.
so
yes.
he's still looking pretty scucks, but he's pretty trim. So I do worry potentially, you know, coming back from Japan into the, you know, ferocious physicality of New Zealand derbies, that he could end up a wee bit broken. But you know, he's got 3 weeks to beef up and get used to contact again. So maybe he packs on a bit of beef.
Imagine that. Imagine being told at that age that you're allowed to go and put on weight. That'd be awesome. And I guess it's the same for you, mate. You're heading back into the physicality of New Zealand media. You know, covering the team. Who was there? I saw a picture of you guys under an umbrella. It was you, Jamie Wall, and who else was there? All standing under one umbrella.
Clay Wilson. Yeah, it was absolutely coming in sideways. So drowned rats.
Welcome home. Welcome home.
Sprinting up to Alexander Park, you know, racetrack under the grandstand, but such a bizarre place for a rugby press conference. But there we were. Yeah.
Did you get any clues as to what they were? I mean, mentoring is obviously part of it, but did you get any insight or any feeling as to what they will be doing with Carter during the actual Super Rugby season?
Yeah, I think so. He'll mentor, you know, the tens, and even Bowden. I think he'll, you know, benefit. If you think back to, he was admittedly a lot younger then, but you know, that 2015 World Cup, and when they played together, Bowden played some of his best, you know, rugby off the bench. He was electric, and you know, I think playmakers, you know, a bit like heavyweight boxers with their power and their punch. I think the last thing to go is their touch. And you can't really coach those sorts of things. So being able to work alongside a guy like Cardi every day, you know, he was, I sort of watched training for about an hour, and he was chatting with McDonald sort of right by his side, talking tactics, and then he did a lot of kicking with Bowden at the end. So, you know, you've got Otere Black and Harry Plummer and these other guys. So just rubbing shoulders with a guy like that, you know, you can only grow and learn.
So he's filling in for Stephen Pettifeta, right? Who's injured. So which is unfortunate because Stevie P gets injured a lot. What do you know about him coming back, like Stephen Pettifeta? Is he gone for the season, do you think? Or do they kind of Nancy Kerrigan him, just get him in the knee and go, oh, you're down. Oh, well, Daniel, you're in for the whole year, mate.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
Nancy Kerrigan him. Sorry.
It's like coming off the top rope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what do you know about it? Do you know, is it expected to only be about like a 5 week or 3 weeks, or what do you know?
It's a fractured foot, so he's a chance for the final round. But you know, the fact Carter's been signed on a replacement player contract suggests that he's gone burger. So yeah, really unfortunate for him. He was playing superbly for fullback, chiming in well with Otere. Their combination going really well. You know, guided the Blues to 5 wins from 7 games. So, you know, you feel for guys like that, Otere, who's going to be relegated down the pecking order immediately, and Stephen, who was, you know, just starting to come into his own and find his feet at the back there.
Do you know if there was any other of the New Zealand teams that put feelers out for him, that sort of said, oh, you know, here's some money, come back and play for us?
Yeah, I don't think so, but I don't know that for sure. Yeah. The reality is there's not really any spots left on the rosters. You know, there's 38-man squads, and they're all locked and loaded. And, you know, these guys like Nehi Milner-Skudder, who's gone to the Highlanders on the same contract, he only got there because of injuries. And I think Sam Whitelock was the same with the Crusaders. He was only able to join because they had space there. So all those guys are, you know, and on these injury replacement contracts, and only earning $1,800 a week, which is pretty remarkable for, you know, pro athletes.
Yeah.
Hey, Liam, like normally a story like this, there's a bit of rumor around that goes, right? And then you go around and people ringing and all that. Now, that was the first time I'd sort of seen any of it, was off that message yesterday. How long has this been bubbling around? Or was it just bam out of nowhere?
It was sort of out of nowhere, yeah. In my conversations, it sort of came to fruition that the Blues had been talking to him for a little bit about, you know, more a mentoring role, but it changed drastically this week. Like Stephen Pettifeta's gone down with the foot injury, I think maybe Monday, Tuesday training. So it's basically evolved in the past 24, 48 hours that they've brought him in as a player as opposed to more of a mentor role, because he's obviously not really fit to play yet. So, you know, they're going to have to give him that time to get up to speed, get used to contact. So, yeah, it has happened really rapidly. Like you say, normally these things bubble around for a while, but it just exploded last night, and you know, making hundreds of calls and trying to get to the bottom of it. Yeah.
Liam, is this what I mean? You've covered rugby in this country for many, many years. Is this the greatest turn of fortunes in terms of the Blues and their number 10 position, which has always been their Achilles heel? Have you ever seen this before in your life, anywhere in the world of rugby you've been looking at?
No, it's funny, isn't it? It's been like an age-old gag, you know, that the Blues can't get a 10. You know, that Carlos is the last 10, and you know, I've had a string of guys come through that haven't lived up to expectations, haven't delivered titles, and they get Beauden Barrett, and everyone's going bonkers. Oh, right, he's the saviour. Can't get any better than this.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Then they go and pull out Dan Carter. So it's total rags to riches sort of tale of playmakers, and something nobody could ever have foreseen. You know, 6 months ago.
Is this it then? Is this it for the Blues? Is this, like, in your opinion, you see those guys 10? Is this what they were missing, and will they win the championship now simply on the backs of those
really
two
good without
inclusions?
those two even.
Yeah, it's right. 100%. It's their best chance to break a title drought. You know, first fives playmakers in league. You know, just so integral to driving a team around the park. And you know, the Blues have got two of the best in the world now. That's the reality, the bottom line. Carter's 38 years old, so he's not at the peak of his powers, but I think he will still have that touch and that guile, and you know, that little subtleties in his game to put players into space and do little things that other people can't do. And what a guy to bring off the bench for the last 20 minutes, and you know, potentially at 12 or 15 or wherever he plays, he's going to have an influence. And
remember me.
Hang on, wait. Are you talking bench?
Yeah.
Put him on the bench.
Well, I think so. Yeah.
Mate, come on. Well, you put him at 15 or 12, even 10. Like, he's got to find that starting lineup.
He'll get crushed at 12, man. He will get destroyed if he's small.
Get him there kicking. Pass to the wingers, run.
And he started at 12. Hey, I remember his debut game was for the Crusaders, and I was working for TV3 at that stage. So we were like, oh, check out this guy, Ma Nunu. Oh, he's going to run over that dude. Watch. And this little dude just kept tackling Nunu so perfectly copybook every single time. And we were like, oh, who was that guy? Dean Carter. Dean Carter's good, man. Look at him go. Like,
he goes all right, that Dean Carter.
He looks like Nathan from Zed. He might go okay.
Yeah, well, him and Johnny Wilkinson would be the two best front-on defenders, first fives that rugby's seen. But yeah, I think you'll start him off the bench, and who knows if he's got the same class that he had and proves that he's still at that level, then he'll command a starting spot. But I think he'll have to come back in and do his time like anyone.
Yeah, he's not. I could, you know, the Blues had a pretty solid back line from memory before COVID, and slipping, you know, Carter into that number 10 jersey. Slipping Bodie into the number 10 jersey's probably disruption enough to then go and slip in another person. I would say he's a bench player as well. Just keep him in there. Just keep him nice and giving Ortetti a couple of tips from time to time at training, and you know, just getting his skills set up. I mean, it's exciting. It's made everyone. You know, we all knew that Super Rugby was coming back. I think the excitement there, in the sense that waiting to hear if there's going to be crowds at Super Rugby, was one of the main storylines. That was what we were all looking forward to. And then all of a sudden, that WhatsApp message gets sent round all these people. And Nate, you were saying the person who screenshot it may have left their name in it, and probably not a great career move.
Down the bottom. And when it was shared afterwards by people, I was thinking like, oh, no one cropped his name out. Oh, that's so when they go, hey, who shared? Oh, it was you. Oh.
That's the worst, though. That is the worst.
That's a breach of trust there.
Yeah.
All right, Liam, we'll let you go, mate. Thank you so much. We've got plenty to go by from that now. So we're saying he looked a little undersized, just a little bit small for your comfortability in terms of getting back into the philosophy of
smaller than he used to. Do you think smaller than he was, or smaller from?
Are we talking vegan small?
Trimmer. Not trimmer. Let's hope not. But you know, you don't know. This is the modern age.
We all trimmer sometimes. Yeah.
All right, mate. Well, we'll take that on board, and now we'll take that with us. We're armed, so we can go away to the barbecues on the weekend and talk about, like, we know what we saw with Ben Cutter.
Send them a meat pack.
For real.
On the
Leave
case.
the meat pack.
Top man, mate. Stay safe. We'll
Okay,
keep in
man,
touch.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Take it easy.
Thank you.
Oh,
Wow,
mate.
you know, like, I know quite often, like, we were like going, how come teams in New Zealand aren't better, particularly the rugby guys? Why aren't they better at marketing stuff and getting excited about things? The Blues today, can I give them a massive tick of the box? Because you had them there, you had a look, there's the press conference, whoops, gone away, there it is. So you had them there set to go, you had your journos about it, they had a little video of them putting socks on, getting dressed or what have you, right?
Yes,
for
that was good.
having him there. Good on them. When a couple of weeks ago, the Highlanders signed Nehe Milner-Skudder, who was beloved. And then it was like, we've got Nehe, can we speak to him? No, he's not doing media. Can we do that? No, he's not. No, we just don't want to. That's like,
Mate,
that's how you do it. So good on the Blues. Well done.
I did ask the
I'm
Blues.
so
Hey,
excited.
I did ask the Blues for Daniel Carter tonight, and they said no, he's not doing media. So just FYI.
He's DJing somewhere.
Yeah,
He'll be
yeah.
DJing
Yeah, look
somewhere,
at
what
that.
he said.
Hey,
Ooh.
fellas.
Guy.
Hey,
Yes.
how are you, mate?
Back. Yeah, mate.
I'm good.
Just
Bloody
wait.
great to be here.
Stop right there so I can get a good look at Ed Book doing the haka.
Here's Ed Book. I love
Look
Ed
at him.
Book, Hucker.
Look at that goatee.
13.
There he is.
Look at him. Yes, Bookie. All right.
The Tall Blacks always have a by the way, Huw Beynon, of course, is here with us.
Can we name them all?
Basketball.
Can we
That's
name them
the
all?
man we've got- hang on, wait, I've got
Let me,
the
I've got
Phil
no idea.
Jones,
So I got
Pai
Kirk
Winatana.
in 6. Yeah, Poulter's in 9.
Paddy Mills.
Phil Jones is
Who's
8.
7?
Is that,
Who's
is
7?
that Paul? Is
That's
that
Paulie Henare.
I said he doesn't
So we
look
got
like
Kurt,
him.
we got Kurt Penny, Paulie
Yeah.
Henare, obviously Barry Cameron,
Pedro,
Powder Winatana.
Poulter.
Phil Jones, Phil Jackson. Oof.
Yeah.
Ed Book,
Book.
I know that.
Oh.
Flavel?
Oh,
Judd
Flavor,
Flavel?
yeah,
Judd Flavel.
And is
And
that
that's
Rampton?
Rampton!
Rampton.
But which Rampton?
Joe Ingles.
Tony.
No,
Oh,
Tony
okay.
didn't make that. That's Damon.
That's Damon, I think you'll
Brendan.
find
I
that.
got it wrong. Damn, I got
Brendan.
it wrong. Rampton.
We know.
Yeah, that's it.
Rampton.
Blake's got it. How are you, fellas?
Brendan.
Good, mate. Good.
Well, quite frankly, I'm ready to be drafted, Hugh. That's how I am.
Let's start with the
wow.
important stuff. Let's start with the important stuff. Mate, you're heavily involved with this NZNBL, the Cells NBL, the draft that's going on, the league that's been put together. Congratulations. We love it. And I have had conversations with you. We're saying, look, we're not taking the piss by putting our names in the draft, but I think it's a great
We're
advertisement
excited.
for the game. It's an everybody
Yes.
game.
Yeah.
Whether we get drafted or not is going to be on the coaches and the GMs. So have you heard any whispers how our draft stocks are looking?
Well, I've got the draft. I've got the registration list, the most up-to-date one in front of me. 371 names
Nice.
for
Wow.
86 spots.
All
Right. Man, I'm going to disappoint
I've got to
you,
be
mate.
in the top 100.
My 3 favourite names are definitely Nate Ade, Mike Piet, and Darcy Waldegrave.
Oh, Darcy
Yeah.
put his name in.
Darcy's in there too. Oh,
Darcy's
look for it.
tiny. Darcy's
No, but
tiny.
He'll
Hey,
be
there's a
scrappy
spot
with the
for
others.
everyone in basketball. That's the beauty of it. You know, point guards can be small.
Yeah.
Spud Webb.
I agree with you, but Nate, this is not a chance to talk up somebody else in the draft. We're supposed to be
No,
talking
fuck him.
ourselves
I'm
up.
gonna
Come on, Nate.
elbow him out there. But he's not. That's what I mean. He's elbow. He's
Obviously,
not.
yeah. Obviously, I did take the piss because I put Sydney Kings as my last team and didn't get an email. So maybe I took the piss just a bit too much. That's probably why I'm not in the draft list. But hey, like we said, if one of you two make it, we all make it.
Yeah, we all make it.
So when you do enter yourself in the draft, you have to fill out a form, obviously. And some of the last couple of questions are like, for media, what is one fun fact about you? And the other one is favorite pastimes outside of basketball. One young man just put sex.
He's going to be a top 100 draft pick.
Oh,
I like
I
it.
so want
He
him
has
to
to
get
be.
drafted because I want you guys to have to
Yeah.
fill for the 30 seconds. Well, his favorite is he likes sex. I don't know if it's watching or being a part of, but
I
well,
mean,
maybe both. I don't know.
This young man, he's promiscuous. So anything would be lucky to have him.
There he goes. He favors the Hamilton insertion.
I've
and
got a
it's
feeling, I've got a feeling he's good on the hustle. He's good on the hustle. The hustle plays is definitely his key. Have you been impressed, mate? Have you been like, I mean, without selling it too short, but have you looked at the names and gone, holy shit, wicked?
Yeah, certainly from, what are we now, 4th of June, 2 months ago when this idea was first hatched. I think the talent is far better than I ever imagined it would be. What are we up to now? 13 Tall Blacks, which is just fantastic.
nice.
You know, 13 guys who have played international basketball. That's just unbelievable. So certainly the talent is better than I thought it would be. Everything's better than I thought it would be, really. The support from people, the number of people registering, the fact that today the league announced that Sky City will be the hotel where everyone stays.
Trust Arena will host it all. Every game will be live. I think it's just
so local.
Yeah, 100%. It's fantastic. And I don't know if you've seen this virtual fan thing. They've kind of stolen the idea that they did in the German Bundesliga, the football league, where you can. So say you're a Nelson Giants fan. Obviously, you can't make it to the games, but you can buy a cardboard cutout of yourself with your head on a Nelson Giants jersey, and it will be there in the stadium. And if you want to spend a little bit more, the team will sign it, and then you'll get it back at the end of it. So things like that.
Like
the whole
that.
thing's just building. It's awesome.
That is cool. It's going to be a shit time to try and get any last minute printing done at the warehouse stationery on Lincoln Road. Don't do that, because that's the one just up the street. They're like, shut, print some more cardboards. And there we go. With all of this. Did
you get to go to any of the Husky tryouts, or
I did.
Did you get to see any of the other?
Yeah, I popped in on Sunday. It was interesting because 90% of the guys there. So Auckland's a really interesting spot because you've got the Huskies, you've also got the Franklin Bulls. Now both have got sort of dominion over the entire super city.
They hate each other, right? They hate each other.
Well, that's the plan.
Yes.
And Franklin.
And so there were players there who, a few of us know are definitely in deep talks with the Bulls. Yet here they are trying out for the Huskies. But also on the other hand, there's been we're a small community, the basketball community, and a great one. And there's certainly been clubs saying, we can't hold a tryout, so if you hold a tryout up there, will you let us know who looks good? And the Huskies have been like 100%. We'll send you our scouting, we'll send you our reports on these guys as well. So it's a strange year, and everyone's in it together.
So I'm going to be a Franklin Bull. Fantastic.
I was just about to say, could you do you want to drop some of those names, because we're not live? It's we can edit it out after. Any names from the?
What about old schoolers? I want to know about old schoolers. Because I'm interested in like the ed books and the guys who have played ball before in National League and kind of had hung up their boots, but like, I'll give it one more thrash. I'd like to see if I can get drafted.
Well, Conrad Ross is
Conrad Ross is
K-Dog, as he's known, as a former. Genuinely, just Google Conrad Ross, you'll see his story. It's phenomenal. I don't know if you know it, Blake, but he's a former Tall Black. He's of Hawaiian origin. He got into some tough times in his life, found himself addicted to methamphetamine, and ended up in a federal prison in the US for like 7 years. And it's a phenomenal story. Yeah, it's a phenomenal story. And then Conrad got out of prison, came back to New Zealand, decided to spend his Wednesday nights terrorizing me on the North Shore Event Centre basketball court. Let me tell you, this guy is the Rock. He looks like the Rock. Like 100%, he looks like Dwayne Johnson, and he is a unit. And I used to wake up the next morning bruised. So he's put his name in. Has Conrad Ross. We had a couple of, someone put Phil Jones's name in as a joke. And I got so excited. And then I found out it wasn't Phil.
The Reefton kid.
Everard Bartlett's going around for another run. Former Tall Black who's been in the league for a long time. Hawke's Bay Hawk for a long time as well, Nate. So he's going around for another run. And of course, in my mind, the greatest New Zealand player of all time, or certainly top 2 New Zealand player of all time, that's this man.
Look at him. He's standing right next to you. That's incredible.
So Mecca's going around for another. Honestly, and you know what's interesting, the Dan Carter news today, which I know you're just talking about with Liam, is wonderful for rugby. That's awesome. And I certainly see the similarities between Dan coming back to help out. He doesn't need the money that the Blues are going to give him, certainly doesn't. But Mecca, he's coming back to help out New Zealand rugby, and Mecca's the same. Mecca's going through 2 weeks of quarantine to play for nothing compared to. There's no money around at the moment, compared to what he has made in his career. But he's coming back because as he said in his own words, this is where he started and this is where he was discovered. So that's why he's coming back. So
Does he know what he's in for though? If I get drafted and this walking elbow.
There's no way you're going to elbow Mick.
He'll kill me. He will absolutely kill me.
Your knees will crumble and you'll fall over and he'll walk past you for a layup.
He still hates me. I had him in a fantasy football league. He was in one of my fantasy football leagues, and I remember doing a lot of trash talk, which I kind of feel like I want to walk back now because I actually ended up winning the league. And you look like a real.
I was in that league too.
Yes, and
nice of you to forget me. That's how good a season I had.
You had a terrible season from memory. Like there was this part that you remember, and then the others that were But he, if he comes back, and there's he'll be one of those guys though that one of the teams will be able to go early on, right, and be able to pre-draft. That's how it happens?
Pre-select.
Pre-select, sorry.
Terminology,
Pre-select, right.
And so obviously Mecca has lived in so these are the criteria you can be pre-selected on, whether you went to school in a city for 4 years, in a region for 4 years, or lived there for 10 years straight at any time in your life, if you were already contracted to that team as well. So Mecca, or if you played the most of your NBL minutes in your career. So obviously Mecca's been a Nelson Giant for his entire career, apart from one random season with the Manawatu Jets when he was younger. So he can be kept by the Nelson Giants, or he can be kept by either of the Auckland teams, because he lived in Auckland for over 10 years.
I'm sure the Giants will be taking. That'd be ridiculous.
Well, so the player, both teams can have a go at him, but the player can only sign one pre-select form.
Oh, wow.
So he can't just sign for everyone and see what happens. He needs to make a decision beforehand.
Oh, can he do it with hats in front of him and you know what I mean?
Well, no, that would be great. But what we're really trying to do is keep all the pre-selections secret.
Yeah.
So come draft day, no one knows who's going where.
Okay, well, don't tell that dude from the Blues. He'll leak it.
Yeah.
Okay.
He'll WhatsApp it.
Yeah. Don't tell the old screenshotter.
Yeah.
Don't tell that guy.
That's a good idea. I like that. Keep it secret, and then we'll all know whether Mecca likes living in Auckland or he hates Auckland, you know? And we just really start being angry and vinaigrette on any of his decisions. Now sort of be like, what? You played so much, we made you, kind of thing. This is good. There's going to be some real pulling and pushing. What's the... So the teams that aren't holding open tryouts, there's everyone sharing the scouting, and that's kind of how it's going. It's a communal feel. When does like the actual draft happen, and where do we need to be watching it? And are you fronting it?
So registration finishes Thursday today, right?
Yes.
The lockout, and just having no work. It's like summer holiday when you're a kid. I have no idea what day it is.
No. And then there was Queen's birthday, and that ruined everything.
Yeah, so tomorrow is Friday. So 8 o'clock tomorrow night, 6 o'clock tomorrow night, player registrations finish.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the top 14, the independent panel, which is myself, Justin Nelson, who you've had on your show, Dylan Boucher, MNZM, and Judd Flavel, who we just saw in the picture. We'll all get together and we'll decide a top 14 players, because each team can only pre-select 2 top 14 players as a way of keeping it fair. And then the teams will get Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday to pre-select their players.
Right. So
and
to
then
Tuesday,
Wednesday we'll have a day to the independent panel can veto a pre-select. So let's just say, for example, Nelson try and take the piss and say, "Oh yeah, we're going to pre-select Mecca as our 7th pick," and we'll just be like, "No. Mecca's the number 1 or number 2 pick. You can't take the piss like that." So that's why the panel's in place to stop.
Oh, we do that right. Okay.
Any sort of tomfoolery,
skullduggery.
Yeah. There's a player who doesn't need the money and goes, "I'll help you out. I'll be your 6th pick," when really he's a number 1 pick. We're trying to keep it fair. And then Thursday is going to be the draft. Now, I can tell you this is very provisional and I'll probably get in trouble, but we've got a meeting tomorrow, the Sky Sport team, with the draft. It's looking like it's going to be 5 o'clock Thursday next week, live on Sky Sport.
All right. Yes. I think I'm saying I'm going to be tuned in for this. It's going to be great. I'm going to wear my suit. I think we'll do the first. This is all very much still work in progress, but it's looking like we'll do a first 6 rounds live on TV, and then the last 6 to 12 will be later that night via the New Zealand NBL Facebook. Huw, if you would like to just jump on, like, if you need me up on a camera in a suit by myself, giving thumbs up to the cameras, I'm waiting to be drafted. I will do that for you. You can cut back anytime you like.
We'll Zoom window it, mate. We'll Zoom window it. If we're allowed to share it, we're allowed to share your guys' program. We'll sit there in suits waiting to be drafted, nervously.
So what I hear is the Nelson Giants, for example, are having a draft party in downtown Nelson at one of their sponsors, which is a bar or a restaurant. So they're going to get a few fans in. So things like this is phenomenal. We've never seen anything like it in New Zealand sport. Yeah, it's great.
Oh, we'll be waiting. We'll be suited up. We'll have cigars.
Yep. Do you know how you're going to run it yet? Like, are you going to run it like the NBA draft? So you're all going to be on the panel discussing this player, this is the next best pick, all that?
Yeah, pretty much.
Tremendous upside.
It's got tremendous upside. I will say this, and I'm sure he won't mind, but the commissioner or the general manager of the New Zealand NBL, Justin Nelson, doesn't quite have the grip of the Māori or Pacifica names yet, so we probably won't let him call them out as an Australian. So that's looking like it's going to be my job. Casey Frank will obviously be involved as the expert analyst. He's won 5 in New Zealand NBLs himself and played over 100 times for the Tall Blacks, and Andrew Mulligan, of course. So it'll be the team, the usual Sky Sport basketball team. We'll all be in there in some way or shape or form, and we will try our best to get around the country. So we'll try and talk to Mecca once he's drafted. We'll talk to Michael Fitchett, the Nelson coach, or we'll make our way and talk to as many people as we can throughout.
So they're not going to be gathered in a green room waiting to be drafted or anything like that.
They'll all be in their own cities.
Okay, that's all right.
Waiting to be drafted. Yeah.
Honestly, bro, if you do that, I'm going to put bunting up behind me, so I've got little flags. And...
Sit with my family. Sit with my family on the couch.
I'd like to both sit together, but only one of you get drafted, and then the other one has to sit there awkwardly and just be like,
that would be so good. Cutting back, like, how have I dropped lower than 4? What's going on?
And then the frustration.
All right. Nate, your Hawke's Bay Hawks, your beloved Hawke's Bay Hawks aren't there.
Yeah, I know.
So which team, if you were to choose a team, would you want to be drafted?
Great question. Great question.
I think because I'm, I actually worked this year. I've lived in Auckland longer than anywhere else ever in my life. So Husky Hard. I'll go Husky Hard or I'll go Bulls, whatever. But hopefully Husky Hard.
And Mark?
That's what I'll do.
Yeah, well, I was interested to see that the Rising Suns were left out. Yes, they are a second div team, but they, they're right up there in terms of the YMCA. I don't know if you know this, Huw, but the YMCA in Gisborne it's part of growing up. Like if you enjoy basketball, Ruckers? You go there, yeah, and it's just one side. One side of it's got like a wooden grandstand on it, and then the rest is just walls. And you've literally got this much space between the outline and the actual wall. And the amount of people who collide into the wall and get knocked out cold. So yeah, I was surprised that that they hadn't been put forward or nominated as a team. But if I was to be drafted, or when I get drafted, I'm expecting to. I know I'm at least in the top 100, and probably I may be a bit of a reach in the top 50.
Yeah.
Someone might need to reach for me. But I'd probably say Huskies as well. I've spent a bit of time up here as well. I like the new franchise, the new league.
Kevin Braswell is an attractive coach to play for as well.
Yes, love Braz.
Yeah. If you want someone that sets some picks, someone who just wants to throw it down, ruin some hoops, just be aggressive, throw some elbows.
Ruin some hoops.
Ruin some hoops. Just like I can jump and grab it, but actually throwing it in is another story.
Yeah. I can eat Fruit Loops.
There's no ball involved. I'm just ruining that. I'm ruining the game for everyone.
That's right.
If I can't dunk, no one can dunk.
Exactly.
You watch the warm-ups. Everyone else is doing nice layups, throwing down. I'm just running up, no ball, and just holding it until it falls off.
I have to be the guy to bring the mood down here. What's up with this? Why did the Cells NBL miss out on funding as part of it? So just for people watching, if you don't know, $265 million of government money in the Sport New Zealand financial relief package went to many places. The Warriors got some money. The Phoenix got some money. Super Rugby did. ANZ Premiership did. Everyone's looking for the Cells NBL to have a look. Oh, $0. What was the explanation given, man?
None as of yet. Let me preface this by saying, because this is obviously a touchy conversation, I hate when this conversation becomes sport v sport, and we should do our best to stay away from that, because I'm stoked the Warriors got their money, the Phoenix got their money, the netball and rugby. I'm going to watch them all. I'll be sitting watching them all. So, but yeah, strange the basketball got none at all. You know how much they asked for?
How much?
$200,000. That's it. That's all they asked for. So so netball got 2.2. Take the 0.2, give it to basketball. Both teams are happy. Both sports are happy. No. So it's an interesting one, and there already has been responses. We go through this a lot in basketball. The Tall Blacks very rarely get funding because and the answer is, well, they don't meet the criteria, and that's what they're saying this time as well. And I always go back to the same thing. Well, let's change the criteria, because basketball is the second most played sport in secondary schools. We know that now, and by all predictions, by the end of 2021, it's going to be the most played sport. It's second only to netball. So for a male sport, it's the most played sport in secondary schools. So we know it's growing. We know it's the fastest growing sport in the country. We know it's the second biggest sport in the world. So I don't get it. And the criteria is for this one, for all they've said so far, is they might get it later on because the season hadn't started. But the season was due to start on April the 9th. And it couldn't start because of all of that. So we've got 70, 80 professional basketball players out there who have made $0 since lockdown, when they should have been making money. And all these clubs who, and I'm averaging here, I'm generalizing, but all these clubs who normally budget between $300,000 and $400,000 are just ruined. They're now spending 20, they've now got 20 or 25 to spend on this new tournament. So I don't buy any of the reasons we've been given so far. It's
I thought Huw too, because I mean I saw that bit when they said, "Oh, but like basketball will get it later when it comes to the breakers and that." But about the season, I thought the breakers is going to be fine by then. Like for me, I thought at least with you guys in the NBL, they've actually gone away and thought, okay, look, let's cook something up. Let's not just go, we'll go with a pod. We're going to go this, and we're going to make it interesting this way. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, let's introduce the draft. Let's do it this way. And I kind of thought, if there's some way that you would look and show the people, hang on, look at us. We've been trying damn hard to make this happen. Like, it's not like we've just sat there and gone, oh, it's nothing's happening. Give me money. Like, you guys went hard out for it.
So they've worked unbelievably hard to get 70 New Zealand basketball players back into work. All right, so there'll be 70 paid players. Not to mention coaches, assistant coaches, physios, broadcasters. I've made no money since it all started as well. Neither of my colleagues, and so they've worked so hard to make.
Well, Moles has. Moles still been doing radio, right? Moles,
sorry.
And I'm sure I've heard his voice on bloody radio. Mate, he's
Moles
fine.
isn't a colleague; he's more of an overlord.
I heard that when he went for his COVID test and they shoved that thing up, but just all these coins fell out when they pulled it out. Like, oh shit!
So they've worked unbelievably hard to get these young men back into work, and Blake knows, it's not an easy task trying to make a go of it being a professional sportsman at all. So I think it's fantastic. By all accounts, and from what I understand, the Breakers are going to get some money in the next group, in the next wave of funding, whenever that is, or later on in the year, and that's wonderful. But really, from a basketball playing point of view, there's 8 Kiwi basketballers on the Breakers, and that's great. And these guys, and those guys are already on bigger contracts than anyone in the New Zealand NBL. So I scratch my head, and it's disappointing. It's disappointing, but who knows what happens, and don't even get me started on the criteria why the Tall Blacks, this whole criteria normally, which is you need to win a medal or win a championship to actually get funding, because that just takes away from the whole point of sport in the first place.
You need to invest in the sport before you get good at the sport, and then you go and win
that old classic.
Yeah. Huw, can you just before we let you go, because we need to get onto our NRL picks, which someone can win if you'd like to win the NRL picks this week. Get on the comment section right now and say if you'd like to. Last week we had no luck. In fact, we blew out in the first game. Thank you, Blake.
We did. That was my own money too. I'm doing it again this week, but I haven't had a job since last week, so the bet has halved. I'm only putting $5 on this week.
Right, $5. Fuck. We were $10 last week. Sorry, Huw, can I just get you to
Mulligan.
Can you explain to me the draft idea when it came up? Whose idea was it? And the reaction when the original thing was floated out there. Fuck it, let's do a draft. Who said that? Fuck it, let's do a draft. And then what was the reaction?
Justin Nelson.
He said it.
He did.
You sneaky fox. Justin Nelson. I thought it was going to be you. Anyway, keep going.
I wish. So Justin rings me and said, I've got an idea for the league. So I'd written the whole thing off, right? I'd written the whole thing off. I think I had 48 games lined up to call. Written the whole thing off. And then he calls me and goes, I got an idea. 6-week tournament, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, oh, yeah, sounds good. And then he goes, and here's this. What about this? We do a fantasy draft. I just about dropped my phone and burnt my house down. Very excited. Honestly, I was just like,
it's a draft.
Are you serious? And this was actually, not to get too inside baseball, but this was a little bit of a shock to me because everyone else, so I called Casey Frank immediately because that's what I do. And he was just as excited as well. Every basketball fan I have spoken to and put this forward to has just been instantly just like, that's unbelievable. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Then it went out to the clubs, and some of the clubs were like, I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? Get out of here!
Well, because, but they're all the stacked clubs, right? The ones that I don't want to share my stuff. I've got stuff.
Yeah, so, and I completely get all the clubs' reactions. I completely get that. But from a fan's point of view, it's one of the most exciting things that I can remember happening in New Zealand sport until Dan Carter popped up and took all the headlines.
Thanks, Dan.
Mate, don't about Dan. Hey, I'll pump it up again. NBA's back.
Well, mate, the NBA, they're announcing on Thursday, right?
Yeah.
But they got the teams. They've named the teams. Would you be a bit angry if you were coming ninth and you, say, had to play Atlanta and Golden State 3 times and
you're
you don't get
to
to play
Sacramento Kings fan?
Oh, yeah.
And we before COVID-19, we went on like a 10-2 run, and we were looking pretty handy, if I don't mind saying so. And now all of a sudden we're going to miss out on the Disney World party. And quite frankly, it's bullshit, Blake. It's bullshit.
What about my guys? Like, we're basically inviting everyone over to our place to have someone knock us out in the first round. And then we're like, okay, are you going to stay? Okay, whatever. I mean, it's pretty cool. Like, staying in Disney World's a great idea. Like, if you want to say, hey, I want to bring my family, They're like, yep. Because you'll have that, because of like the Disney World complex when you stay in it is ridiculously huge.
Phenomenal.
Right?
It's phenomenal.
But you can do that thing. It's like, okay, so you guys are the Los Angeles Lakers. Well, you're staying with us in Mississippi waters. Off you go. And then they'll have their own, like, basically weird, like a Best Western with slightly better upholstery inside it. But they'll all get their own ones of those. And
I love a good
they
Best
could
Western.
journey down. They could probably, because I believe they'll be playing, Huw. Is that in the old Orlando Magic Stadium that they used to play in Disney World, or are they going to play in the new one in town?
It's called the Disney Wide World of Sports. No, I think they're playing in Disney World.
And is it in the big?
So now it's called the ESPN Wide World of Sports, and they do like the Little League World Championships there.
Yeah,
and things like that.
Is there any chance someone might pick up Vince Carter just for a last, get him on the squad, last hurrah?
The Blues.
I don't think so. The name I saw that was interesting today was Kevin Durant. Someone said, one of his teammates said that he's actually been pretty healthy for about 3 or 4 months, and he's been training and kicking everyone's ass.
Now, do you know why, Huw? I heard an interview with that. Do you know what's really got him over the hump of deciding to play? This thought that they might go, we're going to stack them 1 to 16, and that means that it would be the Nets against the Lakers. And apparently, as soon as Durant found out it was against the Lakers, he's like, F it, I'm playing. I want him. Give him to me. Like that as well. So I'm thinking, the goat takes down KD.
Yeah, he's still rusty. Mate. KD will be rusty. I think they might be missing a trick though, because imagine if you got all the teams in there and then they did a draft.
Can you imagine?
We've
all done it on 2K.
That's right.
We've all done
it. I feel like the New Zealand. I was sitting there thinking before. I feel like the NZNBL, the Cells NBL draft. It's kind of like when you've gone about 17 seasons into the future and there's still just a couple of people some guys, and you're drafting all these brand new rookies that you've never seen before. That's exciting though, because then you watch them go throughout and their first season of all playing together. It's a whole different ball game. But imagine the NBA doing like a fantasy draft.
I always used to draft Sean Marks on like NBA 06. And
what round?
Oh, second or third. You don't want to miss out on him. He dunked on Yao Ming once. Hey, I tell you why we're talking draft, and before I go, while we're talking the draft, those who live in Auckland will know of an ice cream parlor called Giappo. You know Giappo?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes,
so,
Giappo.
Yeah, so Giappo Grazioli, who runs it, obviously named after himself, he entered the draft. He's put his name into the draft.
Can he ball?
Did he?
It doesn't matter if
very loud man.
Or not. Can he provide
ice cream
for the broadcast crew? Exactly.
I like where you're heading with this, Stu. And you deserve nothing but greatness with this league, and everything will be supporting it 100%, and we will seriously be waiting to be drafted. Come draft night, we'll be in a suit. And we will be. We'll do a stream. I reckon we'll do a stream. We'll just have our cameras on us as we're sitting there just waiting.
Like I say, buddy, you're most welcome to cut back to that. I'll be here.
What kind of suit? Are you just going to wear a run-of-the-mill suit, or are you going to wear a cool like Shaq or KG kind of?
Yeah,
suit?
I need like a mustard color or something like that. But I've got a Wu-Tang tie, so that's
what you need to be able to do. Is whoever drafts you. So let's say it's
got a Huskies
open it up and have a Huskies logo just tucked in there.
I'm loving it. All hey, thank you so much for your time, brother. Always a pleasure, and we wish you all the best, man. We'll hopefully talk to you or catch up with you after the draft, and we'll maybe even shaking your hand in person. Draft day. Well, not quite, but
hey, best of luck, fellas. Best of luck.
Okay, brother. Catch ya.
Thank you, mate. Oh, geez, I'm excited by that. To me, that's what's disappointing about them missing out is the fact that it's like they've obviously tried really hard to be proactive and to sit around and do stuff. So I think that's a shame. And I know one of the things they said was, it's not a fully professional league. Well, neither's the netball, neither's the others. But I think, as Huw said, you don't want to end up being that whole, it's not fair, they got some and they did that, when the others do deserve their money, and it is good that they did, but you can't help but end up feeling like, my brother got a big bike and I only got a skateboard,
Sorry, Nate, I was half listening to you, but also reading through our messages. I need to get through a whole lot of them. Sorry.
Let me know who we've got here, because this is for the big multi.
Yeah, Bryce Hoskins says, don't print out on cardboard unless it's stuck on. Lol. I don't get that.
This is the pack of punts. No, that's for the what do you call it? The crowd.
Right. Okay.
Like doing the crowd out. So what's he saying? Print on it first and then stick the cardboard rather than putting it straight on the cornflake.
Must be a man who knows the printing game. Leave Blake's picks out. Lol. Oh, that must be for tonight's picks. And Bryce also says, hey, Miles will be in heaven. He certainly will. In fact, he's texted me a couple of times this week. He's fizzed. Absolutely fizzed.
He's fizzed for it.
Andy Roos says, I don't know who is dreaming the most tonight. Blake with his $7,000 ideas, and Mark with his NZ Baller of the Year. But at least you're both smiling and loving life.
There you go.
Fucking terrible idea, the black market.
Just a dream till it comes reality.
That's right. Nothing new with basketball. This is Nosage Wright saying, missing out on money, it sucks. Yeah, that seems strange. And the way Huw puts it, 2,200,000 to netball, 200 over, and that's nothing against netball. Love netball, daughter plays it. Feel like you have to, but 200 grand is all they ask for. You'd think that they'd get it. Andy Roo says, I'd love to, just please, better picks, please. Oh, that's what he wants to
Okay, so Andy, well, he's our person then.
Andy Roo.
Okay, there you go. So game number, now I gave you guys homework to do. Roosters Broncos is first up. Blake, that's you, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, Tedesco's out, but the Broncos have lost so many other players, so I'm just going to go Roosters.
Okay, going Roosters.
Just.
Okay. The next one I've got is Panthers and Warriors. I think that was your homework, Pied.
Yes. Now, the Panthers, they performed admirably against a very good Knights team with that draw. No? Well, I thought that the Knights were going to be pretty good. I watched the game in a massive, large hot pool. So I'm not writing off the Panthers, even without... There are other people in the hot pool too. They showed... Okay, I'm not going to say the place where it was, but they totally had a massive big screen up and were playing Sky Sport, which is so illegal. Like, they're going against every single thing that you're allowed to do. But we were on holiday, and it was where I got to watch the Warriors with a beer in an actual hot pool, like a massive hot pool, and watching the Warriors on the big screen. Which I was like, this isn't quite legal. I'm not sure. And I watched the Knights game there too. I thought the Penrith Panthers are going to will go close with the Warriors, and I actually think at the end of the day, there's some injury concerns. We've just seen a release saying that Kim Mamalo's not playing. Big meters gained.
A tough one, Pied.
It is a real tough one.
Okay, well, you said the Warriors before, and I put the bet on. So
you've already put the bet on. Warriors to win! Lock it in! Shit. Okay, yep.
So, just a little peek behind the curtain there. I don't want to...
big news as well. Sorry, I'm just watching Ben Teo signs of Broncos for the 2020 season.
The Sunwolves. The Sunwolves, Ben Teo.
Ben Teo. English.
Deal.
Yeah. So, carry on, mate.
Oh, there you go. So, next
Breaking
one was
news.
Storm versus Rabbits, and that is me, and I'm going Storm. Is what I'll do. I've got Eels and Manly Sea Eagles. That's you, Blake. What did you go with?
Fuck, you always give me the hard game. This is the hardest game of the weekend.
This is a great game.
Yeah, that's why I gave it to you. Yeah.
I've gone Manly.
Manly, eh?
Yeah.
So put the
Tommy
Eels.
Turbo. Tommy Turbo is something else, man.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the hardest game of the weekend.
All right. Queensland. Now, North Queensland. This is you. North Queensland versus the Sharks.
Oh, sorry. I was reading Zaid White just wrote Barrett 10, Carter 12. Surely trophy is ours. Possible. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. What? Say it again.
Cowboys, Sharks. You went Cowboys.
I went Cowboys. Val Holmes looks sweet running into that backline, man. He is.
Tamalolo's out.
What?
Fuck who? This is the shit you told me, but you haven't written it in our messenger. What
I've
happened
got to change my team now. He's my captain.
Read the thing. It's like 4 days ago.
Yeah, well, it's not here in New Zealand, mate. All right. That's why we've got you in the Hornet's Nest. We're all talking Carter over here.
Right.
NBL draft.
Riot videos on Twitter.
That's right.
I can't watch this. Oh,
Jeez.
man.
So
okay.
Jason Tomalolo's up, but that's all right. I really liked the way Val injected himself in last week's game. He looked amazing. And hitting that back line and that distribution, man. That NFL's done a great work.
Friend of the show, Val Holmes.
Yep.
Canberra Raiders, I chose to beat the Newcastle Knights because it's a game of rugby league. So there we go. The West Tigers and the Gold Coast Titans, well, that's a bye pretty much for the Tigers, so we'll go on with that. And this one here was a split. So I said...
Wait. Back that truck up. We heard I do not know. You're not backing the Tigers in that one?
It's just 50-50 game for me, man.
It's Gold Coast Titans.
Against Gold Coast. I think Gold Coast aren't going to go the full season under with losses.
Yeah, there will be one that
they're going to jag some. I just think the Tigers were good last week, and I think the Sharks were bad. I don't know. Hey, but we've gone Tigers. I'm backing us.
Yeah, we've gone Tigers there. And the last one we did was so there's three of us obviously, and there was Bulldogs versus Dragons. Now they were both at $1.87 at the TOB, so we weren't really sure on where to go with one. I said, where are you going with? Blake said the Dragons. Pied went the Bulldogs, and I'd gone the Bulldogs as well. So we'll go the Bulldogs.
I can go to Bulldogs, yeah. The only reason I picked Dragons was to bounce back from last week, but the thing that got me 50-50 was another friend of the show, Kieran Foran.
Doggies.
That's massive for the doggies.
Right.
Either way, this game. But let's
Well,
go the doggies.
So I'm putting $5 down. That multi is an 8-leg one that works out at $54. So it'll pay $270 when if it comes off. But I will need to take $5 back out of that. And
is that all right, Andy?
$10 possibly from last week as well. So I can give you $255.
There we go.
I think my TAB is probably less fan friendly than the actual TAB, but that's how it works with me. With that one there. All right.
And that's going to Andy Rue. That'll be Andy Rue's money.
Good on you, Andy Rue. My fingers are crossed hard for you on this day, on the Holy Hecker Day. What a day!
What a day
it was there. Hey.
Thank you guys for watching the stream. Thank you for joining in. Yes. I hope you learned something about what Dan Carter's getting up to at Blues training and the likes, and also, of course, what's happening in the NBL. I keep saying it the wrong way. Cells NBL.
Cells NBL.
We're going to be drafted, boys.
Podcast this. Get it in any place you can. iHeartRadio now. It's on there too. So there you go. Remember, just give us a review. Get the purple icon. You click a 5-star. And you know what? I think actually you can just type any nonsense sentence into it and it comes up good. It's their algorithms. I don't get how it works. But that's it. Cheers, pack of punts. Catch you back on Tuesday. I'm going to go and change my team now because I've got Jason Tomalolo as my captain.
Tomalolo. Yep. That's a shit fake. No one's falling for that.
I can't even stop the stream while I'm head faking, sir.
I know. I'm just sitting here. I'm going to see how you manage to.
Someone fall for the fake. Someone fall for the fake. Oh, got me.
You got me. I got you. Have a good night, all. Ka kite. An the